This video is kindly sponsored by Project Red. Check the link in the description to find out more. This video is made possible by 3D Musketeers, offering full-service product development, prototyping, and production, helping you make awesome from art to part. Links in the description.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Meet a Maker. Hi Faye, how you doing?
Hello, good evening, lovely people in Australia, and good morning from the UK.
Hello. Yes, and today I'm super excited because we have someone I am a very huge fan of and also, thankfully, a friend of. We have Steph Piper, who is amazing. So I am super excited. Thank you for coming here, Steph.
Oh, so lovely to be on. I've been following these enthusiastically, and oh my gosh, so many good makers so far.
That's the best.
Yeah, we've had quite a few of our mutual friends on now, or yeah, like it's been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like SJ
I mean,
and stuff.
not a bad thing. That's definitely like a good position to be in, because everyone who's come on has been really awesome. So basically, to be able to be like, oh yeah, no, these are our mates. These are our busy mates. Like yeah.
It's
awesome.
I think it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Very small world in this space.
A good small. I think it's good in this case that it's a small world. But I'm also just kind of like feeling quite pleased with myself right now to be surrounded by such lovely Australians. This is not a thing I get to experience all the time, so I'm just like,
You're
this is
welcome.
awesome. Y'all should be enjoying this too, because this is double the Australian pleasure this lovely morning.
Yes. Well, I know who you are, Steph, but the audience may not. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you make? What do you enjoy? What are you known for? Yeah. Who is Steph
Who are you?
What is this? So my name's Steph Piper, and so like my day job that people might be aware of is I am the makerspace manager at the like a regional university here in Australia. And I'm also co-founder of Elkie Education, which is making electronics kits for young girls that some of you might have seen. You might see one in the background of the
I have some on my desk as well.
I didn't know that bit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
This cat that's been sitting here for many months. Actually, I think since I started the channel is one of Steph's amazing creations. Can I show it off, or do we want to talk about it later? Okay. So this is really cute. It's a little kit, and it's kind of like a 3D puzzle kind of deal. Yes. And it's also a night light. So it's hard to tell, but when it's dark, it lights up behind the cat. And isn't it the most beautiful circuit board you've ever seen in your life? Like, and it taught me to solder all on my own. I did it. It was the first soldering thing. Well, actually, no, these were the first soldering thing I did on my own. And that was the third, but they're all Elkie things I did on my own. So yes, this is one of my favorite things.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
And there's badges. There's a little space lady, and there's a little greenhouse, little biologist. They're so cute, and they're little. I knew you'd like them, Faye. Look at your face. But the cat.
Okay, I've lost my jaw. My jaw has unhinged and is now gone. That's amazing. I love it. Those are I really love seeing, these things that are combinations of things like electronics and something that's kind of cute and like again, not non-standard like boy standard issue boy material kind of stuff is kind of like, oh, that's nice. That's different. Also cat.
Yeah.
And it's way less scary when it's cute. Sorry, you go, Steph. Tell us about them.
It's been cool. Oh, beautiful. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea. Like the aesthetic is, something that is something cute and something that looks fun and something that you're like excited to have after you've actually finished it. And it's not like, oh, this is a boring green buzzer. How cool. It's going to go in the cupboard in the junk drawer. So yeah, that's sort of the goal with these types of ones, to get young girls excited about, giving it a go. But otherwise online, before we get too much into Elkie stuff, other people might know me from my mini factory as well. So I've designed a life-size bit of furniture that's 3D printed. So here's the mini version. This is the stool sample.
Yes.
Stool sample.
Terrible.
So
anyway,
great.
there's like the big one sort of like down there, the mannequin sitting on it.
Yes, yes, we can see that. Yes.
Which is also a 3D printed mannequin.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, just checking.
Everything.
That is cool.
Yeah. So people might have seen that on My Mini Factory. That's me. And I'm also got a big project on Instructables.com making 3D printable casts for broken bones as well. So this one here is one that I've designed to fit me like exactly. Like I was able to like 3D scan my own arm and design this to fit me perfectly using Rhino and Grasshopper 3D modeling techniques.
Oh gosh, Rhino,
Yeah. So the idea now is that like this project is up on Instructables.com. People can download the Grasshopper file and pretty much import their own scans and make their own versions of these. So hopefully we can start seeing more of this kind of thing, maybe in real life. Because, when you break your arm or, you've got some kind of an RSI or something, you get a big, heavy plaster cast put on. And, it's just like, it's a struggle,
It gets itchy
like this,
and gross in the shower.
It's
and when
nasty.
you're a kid, it's really hard to keep it dry because you're a child. And
And that's right. And then like the children are like shoving like pencils and stuff down there and the doctor's like cutting them up then like, how'd you get 5 pencils in there, Tinny? What are you doing? And then something like this.
I'm feeling very called out right now.
Me too. My face is going round.
That was 100% me. Like not recently, but when I was a kid, that was me for sure. But also for Americans and stuff like that, expensive too. So like this isn't just more comfortable and more accessible, it's cheaper too. So like it's
I don't know.
You don't know
how cheaper it would be.
Plaster's pretty cheap.
Like,
or it should be. America's a strange place. But plaster's
Yeah, like plaster cast stuff is so cheap and so fast. And a nurse isn't going to sit around and, plop open Grasshopper and just like, knock up one of those in, 5 minutes. So, like there's still a long way to go in terms of automating this process. But you get a lot more aeration, a lot more breathability, get a cool tan as you're healing, all the good things.
I didn't even think about the tan opportunities.
I did not even think about that. Actually, because I don't tan.
True.
This is my problem also, yes.
This or strawberry colored, so
and
that's good. But
that project was born out of your education history, right? Because you studied, is it biomedical engineering? Is that correct?
I did biomed.
Yeah.
And originally did my honours year in vaccine development. And while I was living on college, I had to go building my own rep wrap Prusa Mendel in my little college room and put it together and then was able to go and approach a professor with some stuff that I'd made on a machine that I'd built. And I was like, look at this. And he's like, you're on the team. And so
yes, 3D printing for the win.
That's
so I got to I was in the 3D printing implant type space for a little while, and that sort of project spun out after that sort of time. Toowoomba Base Hospital gave me a yell and they said, hey, do you want to have a go at doing this? I was like, is this a challenge? Of course I'm going to do it. Like I cannot say no.
Yeah,
I love it.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
You're like,
and
challenge accepted.
I also, please. And I think lastly, some people also might know me from being president at Brisbane Hackerspace as well. But I think that's where my sort of online notoriety ends.
This is like CV.
Yes.
Like,
too many things.
See why I'm a fan, right?
Too many things.
Wow.
Amazing.
This is an incredibly impressive list of things. I think everyone watching this is probably also picking their jaws up off the floor. Because like dang.
Oh, we've got lots of talented people
it's
here. It's
amazing.
I think the community has such a rich and diverse skill set. It's amazing to see what's out there. I mean, that's why I started the show, because there's just so many cool people doing cool things and it's just fun to show them off. So thank you for being one of those people.
Yes. And it's always interesting too to hear kind of the different ways in which people got to this point. And so like, you've got this kind of biomedical background, which is obviously going to kind of inform the way you think and the way you do things a little bit different than the next person. And that is such a, I mean, I definitely think that's kind of why we're doing this, is because we want to hear these stories of kind of how you got from, you know, point A to point B, and making cool casts and 3D printed mannequins and, you know, all of this stuff. So yeah, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what got you started? What kind of got you interested in making stuff and like kind of creating in this sort of interesting physical way? Like, what was the catalyst? Like, what got you started?
Yeah. I think definitely seeing 3D printing for the first time is what has sort of like put me on this path. Like back in like 2011, when it was very, very fresh, very rap-rappy sort of Darwin type land, I went along to a science camp. I saw a 3D printer for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? It absolutely just blew my mind. And I thought, yeah, that is absolute magic. I want to get in on that. And yeah.
Can I be a wizard too? As Jay said.
Yeah. That's the whole mood. That is the whole mood. Just seeing it for the first time and going, wait, what? I can do what now? With the what?
So many things. Yeah. And so getting hold of like a kit, essentially. Like, I ended up paying $500 for a Prusa Mendel kit, and putting that together and sort of realizing how much potential it had anyway, like with, you know, as you sort of went along and started to figure it out and understand it, not just with printing, you know, little knickknacks and stuff for a bit of fun, you know, it's also so many other things, so many other techniques and applications. And it really is something that has like been able to stay so fresh, I think, as a hobby and an interest because of that. You know, it's not something that just gets stale over time. You can just keep evolving and chasing new directions with it, which is, super exciting.
Totally, definitely. I'm thinking back to your displays that you often bring when you're like presenting, of like all your cool different things, and you've got like fabric that you've printed entirely, and then a bag that you've made out of printing onto fabric, and like I don't know, just so many wild different a chicken foot, a prosthetic chicken foot, and just so many different things. So I can definitely see that you definitely keep it fresh. Yeah.
Oh, has the prosthetic chicken foot been applied to a chicken at any point?
So there's a little girl up in Bundaberg called Summer, and she is the queen of chickens, and she has a Chickens to Love Facebook page. Has about 10,000 followers or something ridiculous, and she's probably 15 or 16 maybe this year. And anyway, she tagged me in a post about, you know, someone whose chicken lost their feet due to frostbite. And next minute I was making a prosthetic foot. So they mailed me like the cast of the chicken stump, and they put together like a little foot. So I'll see if I can dig it out of the bag.
You definitely gotta show it.
And I ended up going down to the butcher and actually
how thick it is.
Getting a real chicken foot as well, which was disgusting. It was frozen as well, and I was like, oh, why?
I love how incredibly thick it is. Like that chicken now has like a super hench leg. Like that chicken is the baddest chicken on the block now.
It's thick. So essentially, like when they put it on the chicken though, like it's like putting socks on a dog. It was just like, oh, you know, I've gotten used to this so far, and what is this new thing? And so I think the next thing they're looking at doing, like Summer's sort of taken over the project from here. She's trying to do like a like, you know, Paralympic runners with like the hook foot type thing. Yeah, something like that.
The flexible kind of.
It's gonna be a super chicken.
Yeah.
Help get us into the gate because it was sort of like walk like this, which wasn't too good.
Can I help a chicken run?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, oftentimes animals are actually better off without a prosthetic because they kind of work it out, and then they just, like, they're good. They're very adaptable, like, more than we give them credit for, maybe. But, like, my housemate is a veterinarian, a vet nurse, and and they like, they have to take off dogs' legs every now and again, and the dogs, they're just fine. They just work it out. They're just it's a fine.
Admittedly, quadrupedal animals definitely have an advantage with the more legs. Like
that's true. They do have extra legs.
Quadrupedal animals with 3 legs are basically just fine. Like we've got a neighborhood cat actually around where I live, and her name's Millie, and she has 3 legs, and she's the most capable thing. She's fine. She's fine. She has no issues moving around. She has a interesting gait. Like she doesn't walk like a normal cat, but like she's not slow. She's not impeded at all. Now, bipedal animals might struggle a little bit.
Chicken might be different.
I'm going to talk a bit about prosthetics as well. Got a prosthetic finger too.
Oh, look, it's so cool. Oh, that is cool. Wow.
This is just like a standard Thingiverse type one, but we were able to adapt this one at work to fit an actual patient that was missing a finger, which was pretty cool. We were able to take a cast of their stump and then, fit it in the software so that it's like a bit of a perfect fit. And of course, stuff like this costs under $5 to make. And the poor guy that lost his finger was saying that apparently he was getting quotes made up to get a prosthetic done up by a real company. And, it was going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Ridiculous money. And it seems like doing stuff like this that's 3D printed and hackable, give the patient the files afterwards, could be a huge business model, I reckon.
I definitely think that prosthetics is one of like the coolest ways in which 3D printing has actually helped people in like a real intangible way. It really is. Like I think in fact it was maybe one of the first things I ever saw like in like a kind of like a news article or something like about 3D printing was like around prosthetics. And I remember being like, that's really amazing. Like, again, like the cost difference alone is like, okay, let's do this. Let's look into this a bit more. It looks like metal though. The what you just held up, like the little blue pieces, like they look like metal.
Yeah, it's just silk filament. You just
it's
definitely
really
blue
nice.
printed metal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just like turn down the quality in my camera so you can't tell.
It looks so clean though, like it moves so smoothly. Like it's impressive. It's cool. I'd love to see. Like that is admittedly always one of those things. I'm kind of like, if you've got to get a prosthetic anyway, if you're in a position where you need one, like go big. Like go blue. Like go cybernetic, hardcore sci-fi. Like really go the whole 9 yards, because like if you're in that position anyway, like you might as well lean into it, or at least I think that's what I would do if
I would definitely
if my future changes.
Sorry.
I had someone contact me a few years ago asking for a thumb prosthetic made out of like the Flexi TPU stuff, and he said, "Can you do it in glow in the dark so that I can hitchhike at night, please?"
Amazing.
Yes, exactly.
It. Yes.
Lean into it.
Hell
Embrace it.
Have a little LED in the tip or something. You could hide all kinds of things in your thumb. A little torch.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what else you could put in there.
Get to choose whether you pick up ET or not.
ET. Amazing. That would be so good. I would definitely be hiding things in my thumb. Yeah.
Well, again, the hackability. You could kind of blend this with what Hannah is kind of like doing to her own flesh and blood, and put magnets and RFID chips and stuff in it. Again, really lean into it. Really go all out. Go fully cybernetic with it, and hack the hell out of your prosthetics. It's a good idea. I approve. Stamp of approval.
So we were talking a little. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
I was gonna say we were talking a little earlier about how 3D printing can be so diverse and you can do so many things with it and it stays fresh and stuff. Do you have some favorite skills or techniques or things that you've done and picked up along the way that you really like? And I don't know that you might want to talk about here. Like, are there any favorite techniques or something along those lines?
Oh yeah, I feel like I've had to sit down and learn quite a few different softwares along the way. So you sort of soon realize, like, once you get into the nitty gritty of that, like, I know, Faye, you're pretty good in this space as well. Like, there's just so many tools out there, and like the more that you have under your belt, the more things you can do. So I've sort of, like, I started with Rhino 3D, and that sort of enables a lot of really wild stuff to happen, but it sort of also is, to be honest, super buggy as well. Like, it's sort of, it's like
Rhino was, I think, the first CAD software, like the first like kind of parametric CAD software I ever used was Rhino, and I definitely was like, okay.
Let me try. Let me try my sixth different approach to do this task in Rhino.
Fun times.
So many things to do with Rhino.
Fusion is usually like 3.
I definitely Fusion is not perfect. It is still flawed, but I think I might prefer it to Rhino.
Yeah, I was very lucky to obtain an educational license when I was at uni, accidentally, on my computer. So that was really good.
Roll with it. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh no, what a shame. But yeah, I absolutely adore Fusion 360 now as well, and it's my go-to for any projects that need straight lines. Yeah. So absolutely love the timeline function on that. Oh my gosh, please.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, it's like
my brain is still so blown by that.
It's so ADHD friendly too, because like I'll get way down here and be like, oh, that's okay, I can go back and fix it, because like it doesn't matter if you don't have the full part. Yeah, I love Fusion for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that not a thing that is like? I apologize if this isn't a question either of you can answer, and also it's maybe slightly off topic. But is that a thing that is unique to Fusion 360? Is that not something that shows up in other parametric software?
Well, SolidWorks now looks affordable enough that hobbyists can jump into it as of last week. So maybe
it also has a timeline.
Maybe, I don't know.
Let's find out.
I'm
sure someone in the comments can tell us. Is that
I did not know about the SolidWorks getting cheaper, because my understanding is that SolidWorks has always been one of those, like, if you don't have a company license, you aren't using it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dive in and get a quick price check on that.
I love it.
I have to admit, I miss you having your overlays. I miss you having the ability to change your overlays on a whim. I got very used to that. And I miss it now. Like I miss just the aviators just like suddenly popping on your face like out of nowhere.
It's the SolidWorks here. I can offer you a deal.
Yes, Steph often comes on the Women in 3D Printing calls, and Faye has come to some too, and they're so good. So good.
Yeah, nobody has any idea what I'm talking about right now, and
I thought I would explain for the audience.
I thought I might tone down the characters for tonight.
No.
Sometimes we do get a bit rowdy. We do get pretty rowdy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Silly.
What's your creative journey like? Like when you're coming up with a project, like I've seen you, I don't know whether you can talk about it yet, but like I've seen you embark on some projects in the time I've known you, but what does it look like? Like how do you go from idea, or where do you get your ideas, and how do you get them into the real world? What does that look like?
Yeah. I absolutely love like doing like notebooks, and like I have some pretty active sort of project idea books. Top secret. That I sort of,
you're good and handwritten.
Yeah. Like I've got to have like an online notebook and like a physical notebook, because honestly, I feel like sometimes like my brain is wired in such a way that I've got like a really good RAM, but very low memory.
I gotcha. Yep. I feel similar.
Like
can't keep it all in there at once.
Yeah, like all the projects that I do, I try and make sure that I document like even the individual print settings that I use, because like oh yes, I printed this at 10% scale, and then a week later you're like, I need to print the other half of this. Oh Christ, what scale did I use? And then you're sitting there measuring it like an idiot.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's not good.
I'm similar. I save all my Cura project files so that you can always open them back up again. They have all the settings and the object all there. So you can just like dump a new object in if you.
That is admittedly
I do that a lot. It's a good
something I should probably do more often.
Yeah.
Save.
Super helpful.
Yeah. Having this stuff written down. Good idea.
Yeah, I feel like as well. Like I have sort of a pretty heavy software workflow now as well. Like especially with the circuit board art design stuff. Like, sweet Lord, too many softwares to actually get this going. Like. I can see why no one else is doing it, because it's a pain in the ass.
How does what are they? What's that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so beautiful. Like I have more here. I have like so many kits. This one I haven't finished yet, but this one does work. It's like it's got a little switch and they light up and you can sew them onto stuff. So cute. I'm just going to talk about all of them. But like it's all rigged up so that it works on the circuit board too. So you can like test it, which is cool, and see that it all works. And you can actually see the lines where it connects them all. So yeah, how do you make such beautiful circuit boards? How does that happen? Yeah.
End up detailing it.
Reveal to us your secrets.
Secrets revealed.
Yes. Reveal your secrets.
Shall reveal. Colossal pain in the ass.
Just master.
Strap in. So anyway, I did like a full article on this for Diode magazine. If you want to read it a bit closer, but essentially, like especially when you want to do like the 3D cat stuff, like doing stuff like that actually assembles together. What you do is you start in Rhino and you make it in 3 dimensions to actually give you an idea of where it all sits and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then you break it down into the outlines, like, and lay it out into like a flat snap out shape in Rhino. And so I've sort of gotten there sort of for this one as well, which is like a spaceship design. So this one is still work in progress, but similar sort of thing. And so then once you finish with Rhino, you then go and get the artwork. So I have an artist that makes the artwork for that one, and I put that in Adobe Illustrator and fiddle with it until it looks right for circuit board colors and shapes and lines and that kind of thing. Then it goes into Inkscape, and you use the SVG to KiCad, SVG to Shenzhen, plugin for that. And then it goes into KiCad, and you've realized that you should have started with KiCad in the first place because your schematic overlaps with the artwork. And then you start again.
That's important. This is an important
because I just want to show this a little closer because I kind of skimmed over it before. There are like patches that are like dark purple and lighter purple because they're printed over the copper, and then and there's the blue and the white as well, and then the copper outlines everything, so it almost looks like a cloison pin, like that enameling.
Cloisonné.
Yeah. Oh, is that how you say it? Yeah, I've never said it out loud. But they're beautiful. They're just the most beautiful circuit boards I've ever seen, and amazing.
Right, it totally does look like cloisonné. It's a really interesting side effect of the style.
Yeah, just like enamel pins. They would make little wire shapes and then fill it with enamel powder and stick it in the oven, and the enamel is basically glass, and it would like melt into all the gaps, and they look a lot like this. But they're just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I've lost the pin. Here it is.
One of the special things we're also able to do was find a factory that can do 2 colors for the circuit board, which is pretty rare to find. Like we went to like a circuit board expo in Shenzhen in August 2019, which is terrifying to think about now. Like, but we went to like a circuit board expo, like in person over there, and we were like, "Can you do this?" Like nearly everyone there, and they were like,
"Oh, wow! So it's really rare."
He was a weird aesthetic. What are you doing?
Why is it so pretty?
Not for pretty, only for function.
No, it can be both. I don't think prettiness and function are at war with each other. I know that's a contentious topic, but I think they definitely can be both in one if you just think about it as evidenced by this and many other things.
And I also did a blog sort of showing the iteration cycles that I went through to actually get like that good a looking cat. I had all kinds of problems with the factories that are telling me that they wouldn't do snap out pieces because there wasn't enough tabs. But like at the same time, if you want to give this to like a young person to do, you want to make sure that they're actually easy to snap out with your hands and not using tools.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's an important part.
Really delicate balance to walk there with that. And so I'm up to iteration number 9 on that one.
Wow.
It was like a very sort of, you improve it every time, and you sort of, I'm so glad that I sort of went the extra steps with it and actually, the extra mile to actually get it to the nice product it is.
But you also documented your process, which is not something that everyone takes the time to do. So like, that's really awesome. You've made not just an accessible product, but you've made the process of it accessible too.
I think it's so important. Like, if you want to inspire people to actually get in there and do this stuff, you've got to give them the tools, you know, whatever level they're at.
Yes.
100%.
Could not agree more. Accessibility is something super important to me and something that I think is very frequently overlooked by people because they just make things that they can make. And it's like, well, if I can make this, everyone's just got the same skills as me, right? Like, it's like,
oh yeah.
Oh, actually. Or the same equipment or the same kit or, you know, like you made it all. Experiences.
In actually getting there and doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for like the longest time, every time I saw you can get the thing on GitHub, I would just get overwhelmed and leave. And it's only the last 6 months that I'm like, okay, I can do GitHub. It's okay. I can find the download thing. I can make this happen. But like for the longest time, I just didn't ever touch it because it was just like, and you know, that locks so much out. But it's something people wouldn't even think of because it's such an everyday part of their lives. But yeah, I totally agree.
That's right.
It's really
especially
important.
When people sort of see these kits anyway, they're like, oh, you know, this is a bit of an Australian thing, but just like the old Dick Smith's kits, you know? And I'm like, well, that would be cool if I actually had that experience growing up.
Yep. And I didn't have that. No. Yeah. So Dick Smith is an electronics store. Sorry. It's an electronics store, kind of.
Okay. Okay. So it's like almost like I think the American equivalent would be like Radio Shack, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it sounds like a Radio Shack sort of Billy Bobber, you know. But you guys are saying you didn't have experience, so like,
growing up,
that's a nice comparison, but I didn't have this experience. I don't know.
I think it's sort of, as well as a bit out of our generation, it's sort of also not something that like a young girl would grow up, you know, getting the experience to do. Like, you know, going and chilling out in the ham radio club is probably not something that we were sent off, you know, to do when we were young and that kind of stuff. I was sort of lucky in the way that I got to go and stuff like Scouts. But yeah, cool. Ham radio is probably way out there.
Yeah.
Is Scouts in Australia gendered like it is in the US and UK? I'm assuming yes. No, it's not.
There are Girl Guides. There's like brownies, but Scouts is everyone.
See, it's weird because like that's such a like. It's one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, of course, not a big deal, but at the same time, oh my god, big deal. Like there was no cross-gender Scouts in the US when I was a kid. At all. Like not, at least not that I was aware of. Not that I was aware of. Obviously, if someone wants to correct me in the comments, please do. But like when I was young, there was Girl Scouts and there was Boy Scouts, and there was no cross-gender Scouts. And this is also part of the reason why there's been such kerfuffle in more recent years, because obviously like the whole like where do we put transgender kids, blah blah blah. It's all so stupid because like they could have just had Scouts. Could have just had Scouts.
Yeah. I have strong opinions too about separating children by gender. I have like opinions about it.
Awesome. So you got to do Scouts as a kid, and obviously it gave you, I suppose, a slightly different perspective on things. Maybe more like
certainly a heightened sense of capability. Yeah. Cool. Like if I can do this, I can do that. You know.
Yeah.
Which is actually,
that's actually a really important thing for kids too, to be able to just make them aware that they can sing. Like, you can do this. Why not?
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
Exactly.
So cool.
Now, so what's been kind of, so like we've gotten a little bit of a look of like your creative process and like the stuff you like. What is kind of some of the stuff that you found difficult and that you struggle with a little bit? Like kind of what parts of what you're doing are the bits that are the less fun bits, or the bits that you find harder? Like that's a hard question.
Yeah. You do. I feel like I sort of really enjoy challenge. So getting in there and doing some of the tough things like is sort of exciting for me sometimes, being like, yes, I can get in there and do this. Try and stop me if you can. I'm unstoppable. But sometimes I am stoppable. Like, yeah, sometimes things are just, like there's just too much of a learning curve sometimes. And like, there's so many software tools out there for doing so many things. And you just do not have time to sit down and learn all of the different ways and then figure out the best way of doing something sometimes. So, like, yeah, each project you do, though, like you figure out something new and you learn a new tool and it sort of helps along the way. But yeah, like it can sort of feel very overwhelming, I think, starting a project and being like, wow, there is actually all of these things that I could be using and which one am I going to pick? Like, yeah, I feel like sometimes like I really enjoy like looking at all the stuff on Twitter as well, because it seems like there's so many fantastic people that are at the top of their game. And I feel like we need more of those people sort of looking down and being like, this is what I do. This is my process. I'm going to share my secrets with you, so that we can get lifted up and being like,
I can be like you too.
It just takes so much time. Yay.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I definitely feel that about all the different tools.
It's not a good place for feeling like you're on equal footing with everyone. The internet does a really good job of making you feel like everyone else is better than you.
Yeah.
Or social media.
Yeah, that's right.
For sure.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a really important message, though, that you almost, well, I've kind of almost, I don't know, it's a slight tangent on the message, but I've always sort of felt, I've learned so much from the community and from the internet in general that I should give back what I've done with that to like continue that learning. Yeah, but I hope I live that value. But yeah, it like I feel like it's almost like a responsibility, like it's like I got something and it's an exchange, like it's
it is, or it should be an exchange. I don't know that it's always an exchange, but it should be an exchange for sure. It should be it's an equivalent exchange. Oh no, nerd alert. Sorry everyone. Laws of equivalent exchange over here. Like, God, I'm just gonna stop talking now.
What are you talking? I'm lost.
I realized that without realizing it, that I was actually referencing an anime that I'm a big fan. I was like, where have I heard about the laws of equivalent exchange before? Oh wait, yeah, that's a fictional TV show. That's why.
But hey, the point stands.
Stop now. If you're watching this and you know what I'm talking about with the laws of equivalent exchange, then you're just as nerdy as I am. But yes, the internet.
What? Is it okay?
What? You know it. Yeah. I like you.
My ex loved that, and I didn't sit down and watch the whole thing. I have a hard time watching shows in general, but yes, I didn't know enough to get that reference, but I am aware of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. Yeah. But I believe in the law of equivalent exchange with learning on the internet as well. So, which was actually the point I was trying to make before I realized I was being a huge nerd accidentally.
Is that where Elkie came from? Like, what inspired Elkie? Because it is quite tailored towards girls. Like, obviously, boys can make awesome, cute things too. I don't think that's like exclusive.
Yep.
But
gender.
What was it born out of?
It was a bit of a story behind Elkie. It began as a startup weekend idea. You guys familiar with startup weekend concept?
Yes, I did one. I came second with my team.
Yeah.
Not me personally, the team. I made a good slide deck. That was my contribution. Anyway,
so I'm not familiar I've never been involved, but I can imagine what it's like. It sounds to me like a bit like a game jam sort of deal.
It is.
Yeah. It's like a business competition. So the idea is that you rock up on
game jam but not making a game.
It is.
You rock up on the Friday night, goes for a full weekend, and you pitch the bare wisp of a concept. Barely thought out. You think, oh yeah, this might be cool. You pitch, hammocks for cats.
Hammocks for cats? Amazing.
Yeah. You go up on stage and you're like, look, cats need hammocks with suction cups on the windows, and I think it'd look cute as hell. And think of all the cat videos we can make. Then everyone sort of miles around and forms teams out of the ideas that are most popular. Yeah, and then you full on work on that idea as much as you can over like a weekend period, and you try and get it to the point where you might have real customers, you might have built a real website, you might have gotten customer emails and built up some kind of real traction to show how your business idea
and a product
is.
generally too. You have like a prototype.
I already want a cat hammock, so like
Faye is on your team.
And and so then you pitch.
I really like that.
Yeah, to judges on the Sunday evening, and the judges go and choose a winner, and usually like there's good prizes involved as well.
I think you were my judge. You were one of my judges, Steph, when we came second. Because you were. You totally were. Because it was at ARC. Yeah, you were. And we made a thermometer that you could wear, and it was for chemo patients. So it would tell you if it would go over a certain temperature, because when you've just had chemo, you're really susceptible to fever, and you have to get back into hospital in like an hour if you get a fever, because it could be real bad because you have no immune system. So one of my friends, her mum was going through cancer, and that's what we did. Thermometer you could wear.
That's actually a brilliant idea. That's like fully marketable.
Definitely worth doing, like at least for the first time. Like, you can startup weekend if you haven't done it before. Anyone out there? But essentially, I went along to a startup weekend. There's a lovely lady that runs the show at our local co-working space, and her name's Joy, and she's an absolute queen, this lady. And I knew that if I didn't rock up to this women's only startup weekend, that next time she saw me, she would roast me. She'd be like, "Steph, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed."
You have to go now.
Have to go. And so I went, and totally glad that I did, because ended up pitching the idea of doing electronics for girls. You go to these weekends and you don't want to waste your time working on other people's lame ideas. You want to work on your own idea. And so that's what you need to do when you rock up to a startup weekend. And so pitched the idea, formed a team. Anyway, we ended up, long story short, winning that weekend, and we won a trip to Bali to go to the international finals of the event. We got to go and pitch again against like big teams from Malaysia, Brunei, Philippines, China, Japan, all like that Asia Pacific. So we went and did that, and we ended up winning that one as well. And we were like, "Oh Lord,
guess we got to do the thing then."
we got to do the business now.
That's awesome.
I guess we're entrepreneurs now.
Looking around. Oh gosh. Here we go. And so that's where I met my awesome business partner, Andrea. And she's also an absolute queen as well. She's got 3 kids, and she is a marketing and social media expert, which is totally not my forte, which is fantastic. So
you're like, I am happy that you do that.
And she's great at it too. So she does all the marketing, social media, Facebook, Twitter type pages. We've been working on this together, and we sort of, like, the business has pivoted quite a few times, because when I started, I didn't actually know how to design a circuit board at all. I was sort of like, oh Lord, what are we going to do? What's our product? And so we ended up having an idea that we put on Kickstarter, and sort of glad that we didn't end up making the money on that, because I feel like we probably weren't ready, and starting a bit more small and organic with the little soldering kit badges like you're wearing now, Billy, was the way to go as a starting point, and sort of growing a bit more organically from there with different ideas and concepts, and seeing where
not rushing it.
Yeah, like you do a lot of different things too. Like there's like the paper cards, which I have yet to assemble, but like there's little paper circuits too, and lots of like sewing type ones too. So this is like a little wombat, which a lot of Americans learned early last year is not the size of a guinea pig, but is in fact the size of a dog. And I got many messages about how large wombats were. They all thought they were guinea pig size. Like so many. I had so many messages about it. But dog size. Well,
medium dogs.
Yeah, they're pretty stocky. They're like a
I knew they weren't guinea pig sized, but like I didn't know exact.
They're
like
pretty, especially the southern ones. They're big. Anyway, and it's got like copper tape and the battery and the little stars here. You poke the holes through, and then you follow the little pattern on the inside, and then it will like light up. So cute. But yeah, like that and the sewing ones, like you do have like a diverse range of stuff, which I think is really, it feels really crafty. It's really fun. Yes, the sewing ones. I have one sitting right here and I meant to sew it before we came today and I didn't and I'm a terrible human and I'm sorry.
So this latest one is
I love it. You're like a walking advertisement for it.
It's because I genuinely love it so much. Like I just genuinely love it so much.
Yeah. Really enjoying this stuff has been a huge part of our success. It's so fun.
I'm sure that's not true.
Winning.
They're amazing.
Oh my gosh. That's what it says at the top of the website.
Yeah.
Billy Rubin likes it.
Endorsed by Billy Rubin.
Oh god.
Yes.
Oh god.
So this one here is one that this is the latest thing I'm working on. This is something that I'm very excited about. So these are machine sewable LEDs. So normally when you want to do wearable tech, plug this in so you can lower 10,000.
Wow.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Normally when you do wearable tech, like you were holding up before, the ones that have a little button, you light it up. That is essentially, I've got one over here as well. Probably.
I got one here. I got it.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah.
Really UFO,
so they're pretty much the standard of wearable tech stuff at the moment, where, you've got to use conductive thread and you've got to be hand stitching through the little holes. And honestly, it is very time consuming. And if you want to do any of this kind of stuff with kids or people who haven't sewn before, sweet Lord. Like hand stitching, like for someone that hasn't done it before, is like this whole new world of like
pain and torture. Yeah.
Needle goes like dolphin. Thread. Like like teaching people that kind of stuff, they're all over the place, and it's very time consuming and a little bit frustrating, which is not the experience you want. You want to do this kind of stuff. And so these ones here, anyway, the idea is that you get a little envelope and you get like these as flexible LED strips. So these aren't standard circuit board materials. These are like vegetable. They're very thin. And you can, just chuck it down with your conductive fabric tape it down, and straight away you can test it with your alligator clips. And it'll work. There's no programming involved. Off they go. So none of that kind of learning just yet, just learning how a circuit works. And you can, once you finish with it and you like where it sits, you can machine sew through the tabs at the ends. So you just, run your machine through like the tape and the tab, and it's solidified in there, and your wearable tech project is done very quick.
So cool. So
amazing.
Cool.
I've also got like a new battery holder pack as well, which is tape compatible. I've designed.
Yes. And one of these.
This one here also has a little hole down the bottom there to put a screw in, which is important because a lot of like stuff, we start looking at, doing stuff with schools or little kids, you really shouldn't be doing anything with coin cell batteries with them unless you've got like a properly designed pack for it, for the swallowing hazard.
Okay. Of course, of course.
It stops the battery sliding out. The little hole.
Yeah.
It stops
like Australian product safety standards say that like ideally you should have something that secures it in that requires a tool to get it out. So the idea is that you don't give the kid access to the tool. And so having a little screw there
actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to see more of this kind of stuff down the track. With our little electronics kits.
I love it already so much. I'm so excited. Yeah.
You thought of everything. And that is the hardest part. Not forgetting a thing that's integral is surprisingly easy. So the fact that you've thought of everything is just like that's just
cheers. I haven't got these up for sale yet because I need to sit down and make them. We sort of worked out how expensive it was going to be to actually get them assembled like overseas, and so I'm going to try and get them assembled locally. There's a guy down the road with a pick and place machine that I'm going to go and try and fire up and get going.
That's cool.
To assemble it, but it's going to be a lot faster.
What's a pick and place machine?
Yeah, so it like feeds it in with like a reel of like a little tiny part. It picks it up and it places it in the right spot.
Like a 3D printer, but It picks and puts down objects. Yeah, Faye, they're real cool. Like, you know when you see science and they're like test tubing and they're like with the science? Pick and
Actually, I think
kind of, not really.
Yeah, honestly, it is one of those things that like the more I've learned about 3D printing, the more I've realized that like so many machines are pretty much like they're surprisingly simple. They're surprisingly simple. They just have smart programming, you know, like to make them do the thing, but the actual thing is easy.
Yeah. Someone explains what noise it makes, then you just inherently understand like how it works.
My housemate calls the 3D printer noises happy little sci-fi sounds, which I just thought it's amazing. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's not because it does kind of sings a little. The 3D printer
particularly that Kossel, it sounds like a little bird. It's really cute. It makes very, very cute sounds. Yeah.
Oh no, it's time to print something round. What a shame.
Yeah. The round things are the best. Round things. Yeah, because that is when it sings. That is when it's going around stuff. Straight stuff is like, fun
motor. And things like, oh, motors.
Yes. Oh, the joys of machinery. I do love that you are also one of these like very kind of, you are doing lots of electronic stuff, but it sounds also like you are just self-taught with this stuff because again, your background's in biomedical. It's not, you're not like an you're not a electrical engineer or somebody who has a background in electronics. You are someone who just was interested and you kind of just taught yourself, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is totally true.
You said.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And there's like nowhere to really learn, like, you know, in a formal setting, you know, where you might go and actually sit down and do a course on circuit board design. Like that doesn't exist yet. It barely does for 3D printing, you know, so far.
Yet.
I've been thinking of that lately, actually, and going to TAFE. TAFE is like community college here, I guess. It's like it's like where you do trade school sort of stuff. And I've been thinking of going to them because they have like machining courses, and I want to do like a digifab one, you know, like 3D printers, laser cutters, this sort of stuff. You learn to model. Maybe I get someone to help me with the electronic side of things, but like digifab in general, I feel like that could be a thing. That should be a course.
I think there's a few courses in that space.
Oh,
the Cairns TAFE space, because they are actually, they have a makerspace, like a local hackerspace that's joined onto their TAFE. So they offer some of those types of courses, but it's one of the few places that does that I've seen online. And yeah, you pretty much just have to sit down and, you know, like, you know, you're looking at like the Rocky montage training, you know, episode, watching YouTube videos like of like marathoning. Like I pretty much just watched Sean Heimel's series on getting started with KiCad. Yeah, KiCad. Yeah, super helpful. So yeah, it is very much self-taught, and it was a huge leap to actually go and press order on my first circuit board. And a lot of the circuit boards I've made, and you know, the factory is like, "What is this? You fool! You rookie!" I like it.
You're like, "Don't judge me. Don't judge me."
We're learning.
If you want to learn, you just got to do it and just, you know, find out what happens. Yeah, it's super important, and I think I'm sort of very lucky that I had a business partner behind me, sort of being like, "What are we doing, Steph?" You know, to actually push me along and sort of make me take that extra step that I probably, honestly, might not have taken if it was just by myself. You know?
Yeah. No, it's weirdly difficult, I think, sometimes to kind of muster up the combination of confidence. It's a like confidence, knowledge, like kind of a whole bunch of things. And yeah, I think sometimes it helps if you've got someone who's like outside of you, who's like, yeah, you can do that. You should do it. And they're like,
Hannah said similar. She loved looking at maker stuff, but until it was her job, she didn't actually do it. She needed just a little nudge as well. Yeah. If
you can put yourself in a position where you have that nudge being given to you, like that is that's where you're going to start really seeing some of the real results, I think.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm kind of curious, and like, feel free to say no if you don't want to answer this question. But I think if you are okay answering it, I think people would be very curious. I know I'm curious. Is Elky self-sustainable now? Is it? Would you say that it's been successful to a point that it can keep going? If that makes sense.
That's a pretty hard question.
Success is hard to measure, but like something that is self-sustaining that's a little bit easier to measure, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet, to be honest. Like, we've been very lucky in getting picked up by Pimoroni as the European stockist, and I feel like once we start,
they're here.
You can get badges too, Faye.
Yeah, I feel like if we start, getting picked up by some of the more mainstream US stockists as well, that's when we might be on a real path to being somewhere. But to be honest, like, especially like with this latest round of larger kits that we've tried to get mailed in, like, we've tried to get the factory to assemble them for us. We sort of thought that would be the most common sense scaling step, like, spend your time more wisely working on prototyping and not the manual assembling of the thing. But we sort of realized we've just been, honestly, slapped so hard with shipping costs. Like, sweet Lord, trying to get this stuff over here has just been, it's really blown out our costs, something chronic. So, like, to give you a bit of a ballpark, it sort of cost us maybe, like, to get 500 units of these to Australia from China, combination of DHL and sea freight, $3.5 Australian dollars, like 1,000 Australian dollars. So, yeah, it's been huge, big dollars, and I'm very lucky that I've actually got a real job to sort of the side hustle going.
Yeah.
So I think we need to, like, especially after COVID as well, start planning things a bit smarter in terms of, like, working out, okay, like, obviously the packaging costs on this, like, if we can get them made here and then, get all the parts that you can't get made here overseas and ship them in, and then figure out how that all comes together, that's where we're going to start to be on a bit more of a winner. But yeah, it's like hardware business stuff is something that I feel like, because of this problem, not many people do it, and it's hard to find good mentors who've succeeded that are willing to actually.
And that's why I wanted to ask.
Especially here in Australia, I feel, because our wage is so high and we're so far from everyone, and our market is only so big, particularly
you're disadvantaged
really
massively.
hard. Yeah,
it's a massive disadvantage. But I know that, like, a lot of makers, a lot of people who watch the show and are in this community, a lot of people have kind of those business idea dreams that I have a cool idea, I wanna make it, I wanna manufacture it, I wanna mass produce it. And we all know a lot about making, but business is not the same thing. Like, being a successful maker and being a successful business person with an idea that you came up with because you're a maker are not the same thing. And so, like, I definitely feel like the insights that you've gained from starting a business, effectively starting a not just starting a business, but starting a business that is manufacturing something. You're making a product that is produced on a not individual scale, and you're selling them. And that comes with a whole bunch of details, which obviously because you're doing it. But everyone else probably doesn't necessarily have the slightest clue about. So, like, I definitely find that sort of, you have, I think, probably interesting insight that a lot of people lack, because you're just doing it. You're just doing it. Like, you're like, yep, I'm in this. Figure out what it costs to do packaging. Like,
oh gosh,
that's not a thing that most people are going to think about. The fact that you have to package the thing you're selling, and it has to be consistent, and it has to be cheap enough that it's not eating into your costs massively, but it has to look good and be functional. And there's a lot of details that are easily, and you're like, yeah, I know.
It's very much like a passion project type thing to begin with. Like, you've got to really love what you're doing. And I think even sort of, look at the wonderful Bold Port Club type stuff as well. That's sort of very similar. I think that's probably the most similar to what we've been doing. And I think Saar also sort of felt the grind a bit too much, and that's why he isn't doing regular mail outs of new things, and has sort of handed off his catalogue to Pimoroni. Yeah, like it is like a huge effort, and especially when you want to make things affordable for people as well. Like
that's the other bit.
Yeah. If you're not like a luxury type product where you can charge, you know, extra hundo bucks or something on top, you know, like yeah, I think it is like a lot more of a grind. And I sort of had to learn like a lot of skills along the way, especially with packaging as well. Like a lot of the factories will, you know, actually mock up like a die line for you, which is what we used for this. But yeah, I've had to sit down and learn like Adobe Illustrator, which has been such a fantastic tool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wish I'd learned that so much earlier.
Vector amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's one of my favorites. It's also one of those things that people either love or hate. So it's good to hear that you love it. Everyone does.
The math lines. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, figuring out that kind of stuff, and like more recently being able to actually mock up like a packaging design and like figuring out what's on the back as well, like product warnings and like all this kind of stuff, like what country you're shipping it to, and oh my god, so many things.
Again, important details that are easy to, like, if you've never done this before, easy to just kind of completely forget that, yeah, oh yeah, there's laws. There's laws you have to adhere to.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to jail.
Oh, good. Oh, no.
Basically what I'm hearing though is that everyone needs to go and purchase an Elky kit or 2 or 6 if they can, if they're accessible in their country, and even if they're not, get them shipped from Australia if you can afford it, because it sounds like that Steph needs our help to get this in the green, in the black, whatever the phrase is. Money.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly. I don't think we've quite worked out international shipping on our home website as yet, but Pimoroni is going to be a place to.
Pimoroni? Sorry.
yeah. Pimoroni from there will be the place to go. So yeah.
Are you looking for somewhere in America? Are you looking for somewhere in America to stock them? Is that something you're? Yeah. Okay. If anyone knows of a cool place,
I don't know. I don't know if this is within the remit, but for some reason, I feel like Matter Hackers sells a wide range of stuff. I don't know if this is kind of within the remit. I really don't. They might be more 3D printery based, but I feel like they do other stuff too. And I don't know. Matter Hackers is obviously cool people, so like obviously.
Yeah, I'll take that on my list. Yeah, I think like the absolute ideal would be SparkFun or Adafruit. I think that would be like
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't reached out yet, but yeah, very keen.
You're watching this from Adafruit?
Yeah.
Just email stuff. It's fine.
They're amazing. Look how they're amazing. It will work.
Yeah. Make it happen. It's a good idea. It's actually, you know what? You're right. Adafruit is 100% because they are obviously actually a company that cares about accessibility, and they care about kind of making more products for that are outside of the usual, you know, these things for boys and for men and stuff like that. Like that they actually care about that stuff. So
oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. Stuff. Anyone has contacts with Adafruit, tell them about Steph, because like let's make this happen.
Make it happen. Come on, internet. This is what you're here for.
Yeah.
Make it happen. I want to see this succeed, because it's an awesome product and a great idea, and I don't think there's much out there like it, and yeah, it should be good, and you shouldn't have to necessarily be completely paying for it out of your pocket. So, yes, internet, do the thing. Go. All right.
Oh yeah.
We've talked a little bit about what's upcoming in your world, but is there anything else happening that you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, let me tell you about my other project that I'm currently working on. So I'm just going to turn the camera around here.
Oh,
I was so glad. I wasn't sure whether you were going to talk about it, and yes.
So this is called the Party Button Project. So
it's a party button.
If we can hear that on. It's like a traffic light noise. But yeah, so the idea anyway is that oh, don't know how I can see it.
I think Discord is Discord's not letting us listen, but
it's all right. So essentially,
I heard
this is a
something.
project. Yeah, that's okay. So this is a project that I started last year. It's called the Party Button Project, and someone gifted me a real traffic light button, like not a button, like a light. So like a real Walking Man green like light. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes,
Amazing.
I need to do something like this. And so I ripped out all the green LEDs and I put in color cycling rainbow LEDs, and I put a real actual traffic light button as well, and rigged it all up so that when you press the button, light comes on and it plays like the, and then and then it transitions into one of 10 randomized party tracks. So
that looks like it weighs a ton, by the way. That looks heavy.
It's heavy. It's reaching the edge.
I love it.
So yeah. Anyway, I managed to actually apply for a grant to build a real version of this made out of like full-on welded stainless steel to make it look like an actual like graphic fixture for an interactive art installation.
Amazing.
So yeah, I'm currently building it out right now to fit that brief. And so I've got like actual LED matrices that I'm getting someone to make animated little dancing green and red people on there. And it's also going to have a security camera on the side that like nods its head up and down when it's playing.
Did you get the grant though?
They called me up and they're like, we love this project. Do you want to make 2? I was like, I go loud.
Oh my God, Mazel Tov. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, like, pick life accomplishment, applied for a grant, got it. Like,
and it's for a party button, which is just like the coolest project ever.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
Yeah, it's very exciting, but I'm also like freaking out a little bit. You know, it's like it's a big project, like in terms of all the little bits and pieces that need to work together. And yeah, like it's meant to be 12th of March. It goes on display. And so I need to sit down and really figure out like a lot of the stuff pretty fast. Like I'm sort of worried that things might pop up that'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that because this is a metal object, it can't transmit radio waves to each other. Why didn't you think about that? Like all those little things that you like will soon find out along the way. Yeah. I also
I mean,
I got enough here.
You got my respect.
It'll work, but it'll I really want the extra.
You got this.
Like the wow factor, you know?
It's definitely going to be wow. It is definitely going to be wow. Like I am so hitting that party button because it'll be here in Brisbane. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I would love to one day hit the one day.
You'll have to.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. That's so exciting. You got this. You got this. You got a month.
So this is taking priority over the Sewable LED strips at the moment. So yeah, once this is done, I'll be able to full steam ahead back with prototyping land for Elkie.
Beautiful.
When do you sleep?
Oh yeah,
I mean, like you have a day job.
Yeah.
And you've got massive side projects, like huge side projects that sound like enough time to fill up a day job.
Oh yeah. Like I'm pretty much like you really gotta like just keep chipping away at it. Like, you know, like whenever you've got an hour to spare, like I usually try and sit down and just, you know, smash out bit by bit, you know, adding in that consecutive time, you know, really makes a huge difference over just, you know, having like a concentrated, you know, intensive period. I think for me anyway.
How do you keep yourself accountable for chipping away at stuff? Because I struggle to do that. I definitely am a flurries of activity kind of human. Is there a tactic you use, or has it come naturally to you, or
an app?
How does one?
Usually like a lot of like multitasking.
Gotcha.
You know, so like I think for me anyway, I just sort of start slow. Like, okay, the first thing I need to do with this is look at this website. And so I'll be looking at the website, but also maybe watching the latest episode of WandaVision or, you know,
gotcha.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Sort of like, you know, taking it slow, I think. Slow and steady.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's man. That's good.
This has been great,
That's
hey?
good.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we ask for your socials and all that jazz?
I did have one more project to show off as well, real quick.
Yes.
I already showed this one off at the Women in 3D Printing Meetup, which you already saw. This one here, this is like a fabric 3D printing project.
I love
So this one is like printed like spikes, just like the David Shorey stuff, very inspired from him. But I've managed to chuck in a bunch of LED strip directly under all of it so that I can control it through my phone and sort of like a bit of a fashion warlord next time I get invited to a fancy dinner in the distant future.
Fashion warlord. I love that.
Fashion warlord.
Fashion warlord.
Oh my God.
It's very like Mad Max cyberpunk version.
Oh yeah. In the
it's also future. Oh, I love it. And I mean this as a compliment. Like please understand, this is the most obnoxiously gay thing I've ever seen, and I love it so much.
Rainbows,
so but also fashion. Fashion, rainbow, lights in your face. I love it. That is a compliment coming from me.
Cool if you could like hook it up to like those like gyro wristbands or something like that, and being like,
and it like responds to like, that'd
be real. Like
that would be it.
Yeah, that'd be real.
That'd be the move.
It's like compatible anyway. That'd be really cool for that. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to be working with my mum on a few projects like this as well. So send my mum the gear to make stuff like this, and maybe set up a little website where she might be able to earn a bit of money doing some pretty high-end sewing stuff for this, because I'm not too good at sewing, but she is an absolute master at it. So that would be pretty cool.
That's awesome, a little collab.
People doing stuff with their mums is just the nicest thing.
Oh, they're really cool. They're like candy corn. That's cool. They like light up on top. Yeah. Oh man, I'm thinking like Woodford Folk Festival at nighttime, or like the Family. These are like, there's a nightclub called the Family. Woodford Folk Festival is this like awesome like tech hippie music festival that happens once a year. It's just a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. But that would rock there. Like that would be awesome. Yeah. I grew up there kind of like we would go every year because my mom would do workshops there, and it's just a beautiful magical place. Yeah. But that would rock there. Like people would like be all over that. That'd be rad. Yeah. I love it. Oh, so cool. I want one. Where can we find you? Where can people follow what you're doing next? Where can they find out about Elkie and hear all your cool thoughts? Where are you?
So Direct from Brain Thoughts are up on Twitter, and my username for that is sjpiper145. That's my handle. But otherwise, you can check out my blogging website at piper3dp.com. So that sort of details a lot of like the builds and that kind of thing that I do. And lastly, Elkie
documentation.
Yeah, all the places. Elkie is a bit of a weird word, but it's spelled Elkei. Elkie. So you can find Elkie at elkie.com.au.
AU is for Australia, by the way. Everybody who doesn't know.
That's
our special 2 letters. Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been wonderful. It's always wonderful to hang out with you, but now everyone else gets to as well. So yes,
I feel like I learned so much today too. So you have an incredible story. And you're doing amazing stuff. Everyone should definitely follow you and keep tabs on what you're up to, because it's really, really heckin' awesome. Just do it.
Heckin' awesome.
Just do it.
Thank you.
So many more projects to make.
Yes, so many, and they're all amazing. Everything you do is just amazing. So yeah, I love it.
Just gonna have to keep going. Yep. So.
Bye. I just hearts like this. Yes. Bye.
I am loving making this series, and if you are too, please support me on Patreon so I can keep making more. Top supporters will appear in this list of legends. You can meet another maker here, and here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like. If you want to catch up with any of us, all our socials are in the description below. See you later!